And I think the most important thing for a company to keep in mind is that whenever an event like this occurs, a tornado or tsunami, some kind of a weather event that has impacted a region significantly, they can expect increased oversight from both federal and state agencies. It's easier for domestic companies to be reviewed by a federal or state agency because they're available. It's not so easy for foreign facilities to come under that review, and so consequently importers often find that their products are just being stopped and that are coming from regions that are affected, foreign regions affected by weather events. Those importers need to have the ability, need to find ways to prove up to the government that the product that they're bringing in is in fact safe and that it is in fact effective if it's a drug or device product. These companies that are in those areas could have experienced a number of impacts with respect to their facilities. And so both federal and state investigators are likely to increase oversight by conducting inspections of those facilities. With respect to foreign facilities, take for instance the Japanese earthquake scenario, but there are others. Facilities in those regions very often find themselves on what's called an FDA import alert. And FDA import alerts, these are public documents that FDA publishes, essentially giving instruction to their inspectors to automatically hold or detain food that's coming from the region that FDA believes is or might be affected. And so then the question becomes, what kinds of effects might a food company have? And there's three basic areas where you could expect FDA to evaluate, or even state agencies. The first area of review is most likely going to be the integrity of the facility. If the roof's been torn off, it's relatively easy to see the facility's not going to be operating. But there are other effects that can occur to a facility during a major, for instance, a tornado in the area, which can be less perhaps easy to detect. You could end up with breaches in the facility, broken windows, glass, doors that have become maladjusted on their hinges, and the effect of which is that the environment can get into the facility. This could be rain or dust, but also pests like insects and rodents. And so FDA and the states will look at the integrity of the facility. The other area of concern when FDA or the state evaluates the risk with respect to a facility because of a weather event is in documentation demonstrating that temperature controls have been maintained, and so for perishable foods or frozen foods, which must be maintained in certain temperatures in order to prevent spoilage, FDA is going to look at records in order to ensure the facility has been able to maintain refrigerator and freezer operation in order to ensure that the food remains safe. This temperature control issue carries over into drugs as well, in that there are quite a number of drugs that must be maintained at certain temperature ranges in order to maintain safety and efficacy. FDA can ask for those kinds of records directly from the facility that might be affected, but they also can look for those records from foreign facilities or from suppliers upstream. For instance, you can have a company that's affected by a weather event, even though they're not in the region. So a company that's 1,000 miles away that's buying from a company that's in a region that's affected by a tornado or a tsunami should be concerned and should ensure that the product is coming from a facility that still has adequate integrity and has maintained temperature control, and that the equipment and the packaging operations in the upstream facility are adequate in order to ensure the food or the drug is safe and still effective.